All right. Happy Saturday night, everybody. It is OC Steve coming at you once again. Just wanted to share some of my thoughts and comments about this year's New Japan Cup 2021. There were a lot of surprises. Normally, you have somebody that'll break your bracket, very similar to March Madness. They kind of announce bracket 1 and bracket 2, and then both respective champions will collide at the final, and somebody will be deemed the New Japan Cup winner. That winner goes on to wrestle anybody of their choosing for a title. Usually it's for the most prestigious title in New Japan, which will now be the World Heavyweight Championship, which will be the merging of the IC belt and the heavyweight belt into one unified belt. And that current holder will be Kota Ibushi. And that challenging match will be at Sakura Genesis in a few weeks from now. But we've had a lot of surprises in this New Japan Cup. It's been kind of a roller coaster ride. So let's go with Block 1. I would say the biggest surprise out of Block 1 right out the gate was the Great Okan from the Empire beating last year's double champion for a good chunk of the year, Tetsuya Naito. I don't think a lot of people anticipated the Great Okan to beat Naito, but he did. He advanced. Another guy that got real far, too, is the current king of pro wrestling, Toru Yano. He beat Bad Luck Fale. He even beat Great Okan, but ultimately was stopped by Evil from Bullet Club. So I think a lot of people were sweating bullets that Yano got that far, but, Evil kind of put that worry to rest. So, another guy that was blazing his own trail was the Dragon, Shingo Takagi. This is a guy that was a part of another Japanese promotion and has had to work his way up in New Japan. He was a junior for a minute. If you would have blinked, you would have missed it. Everybody kind of were scratching their heads about that one. But he beat Okada. He beat one of the longest reigning heavyweight champions in New Japan Pro Wrestling right out the gate to advance through that. He beat Hiroki Goto. And then he even went on to earlier this morning to beat Evil to be the finalist in the New Japan Cup. So, if I have to pick a two between Will and the Dragon, I'm going to pick Takagi just because I think his story is great. It's been building up. He's been taking on these challenges. He's been wrestling Hiroki Goto. He's been wrestling Ishii. He's been wrestling Jeff Cobb. All these guys that are these kaiju of men. He's been meeting the challenges and taking them on head first. So I just enjoy his tenacity and his determination in the ring, that he has a swagger and confidence that he's moving forward. From Block 2, I would say my biggest surprise there in Block 2, and it was kind of, a nice surprise, was seeing the rise of David Finley. This is a guy who's kind of hit a plateau. I mean, he partnered up about a year or so ago with Juice, became Finn Juice. They won World Tag League. They've won heavyweight championships together. They're the current heavyweight champions of Impact Wrestling. But he hasn't really had a long, illustrious singles career. It's been he's been taking L's left and right. So it's great to see him forge his own path. And a big surprise was that he beat Jay White, King Switch himself, to go as far as he did in the New Japan Cup and wrestle Will Ospreay. He put on a hell of a match last night, pulling all the stops. I don't know if he actually got injured, kayfabe aside, because that was a performance to sell it that well. But he really made Will look good. He made himself look even that much better. So the two finalists going into tonight in a couple hours' time are Will Ospreay and Shingo Takagi. If I had to pick one dog in that fight, obviously I'm going to pick Shingo. I think he's just more interesting. His performance in the ring, just his attitude and his demeanor, I'm kind of on that wavelength. So I know that there's a lot of people that are Team Will, but I'm going to go Team Dragon on this one. So if Takagi wins, he's moving on. He'll be wrestling Kota Ibushi at Sakura Genesis, which is one of the next big events in a few weeks. But the even bigger event that's going to be happening in May. In fact, there's two of them. We're getting two stadium shows only a couple weeks apart from one another. There's going to be a baseball one, and then we're returning to the Tokyo Dome for another big event. So I'm looking forward to that. So another thing that I just kind of wanted to talk about and hit home was I've been having challenges buying items via EMS or Japan Post. They're usually a pretty good service. They have decent rates. They're kind of the postal service for Japan, but they also send stuff internationally, and they're pretty damn quick when they do it. But unfortunately, right now, we are living in a pandemic world still where they don't want EMS planes coming to the North American continent. So you got to find ways around that if you really want to get your products from Japan. Fortunately, a fellow fan that I talk with a lot, Karen, appreciate it. Thank you very much. She put me on and gave me the idea of signing up with Tenzo. She uses it a lot. She explained all the ins and outs and what you have to do to set up a Tenzo account. So once you do, you just go onto the website like any other website you would register for. But the difference is usually you got to have some documentation to prove that you are you and you live where you live. So that was just scanning a photo of my ID, uploading it. You go through a verification process, then you're all good. They authenticate that you are you, and they give you a Japanese address. More than likely, it is a Tenzo warehouse somewhere in Japan. So you have an address, you have a phone number, you keep your email still addressed. So then you can go on Japanese sites, order Japanese items, have them sent to the Tenzo warehouse. So once they receive it, they'll send you notifications via email. They'll inform you, depending on where you live in the world, your respective shipping rates. For my case, it was either it could have it sent via freight, which would be on a boat, and then it would come here to the United States. That would take 60 days. Obviously, I wanted this tracksuit a little bit sooner than later. So I went with the DHL option. I kind of picked the middle route. That was 7 business days for $60. And it showed up even sooner than that. I think it showed up in 5 business days. So that was a nice blessing in disguise. They communicate with you along the way. In fact, they were honest and transparent that they accidentally overcharged me at the time because I was kind of in this gray area before they went to a new shipping rate. So they gave me a return and a couple dollars a yen, but I really enjoyed that they were an upfront and honest business. So if you're looking to get products aside from wrestling merch, if you're an anime fan, or if you're a Godzilla fan, or you just want to pick up some Japanese merch, I highly recommend going with Tenzo just from my own personal experience. So that's kind of the news that I have for now. And then the other thing that I wanted to hit home lastly was the professionalism that happened last night. There was an earthquake, 7.0 earthquake. I hope the people living near Sendai are safe and their families are safe. But New Japan was performing the semifinals of the New Japan Cup last night as the earthquake hit. The New Japan staff and commentary team and wrestlers reacted professionally. You can tell that this was nothing that caught them off guard. They immediately turned on the house lights. New Japan staff were responsive, making sure that fans were safe. Wrestlers got out of the ring immediately. You saw wrestlers like Kota Ibushi telling fans to remain seated, stay calm, that they're going to do everything that they need to do. Kevin Kelly was a well of knowledge. You can tell that he has researched Japanese culture in and out. He was reminding fans that they're going to take a break momentarily because they need to do a thorough check of the building to make sure that the building is safe, nobody is hurt, and that it is okay to proceed with events. So that was about a 15-20 minute block where they were just checking everything to make sure it was okay so the show could continue. In the meanwhile, obviously the heels from Bullet Club left, but Kota Ibushi, Kazuchika Okada, and the ace himself, Tanahashi, stayed in the ring, just posing for photos. I mean, Okada and Tanahashi kind of had a Zoolander-esque pose off, if you will, trying to keep the fans upbeat, doing chants, taking photos, just keeping their spirits alive, healthy, and well, so that the fans were okay. I enjoyed this a lot. They went to every side of the ring, striking for poses and photos, and then they continued the rest of the match and the show once they got the A-OK from the event staff, respectively. But, you know, that's just the thing I enjoy about New Japan. They take themselves seriously. They respect the fans. They respect their staff. And they just want to make sure that everybody's safe, has a good time, and they put on the best product possible that they can present, not just to fans locally, but internationally throughout the world. So I hope you're well. I hope you're healthy and safe. Whatever your wrestling promotion of choice, I hope you're enjoying some great matches. But if you want to come over here and check out some New Japan, please watch some of the other videos. Engage in the conversation if you're a New Japan fan. This is a great launching point. Sakura Genesis, you get the most single matches you can. It's a great launching point because you get to see factions, you get to see individual wrestlers, and we're going into 2 big monumental events in May. So till then, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.